Hey, what's up, guys? This is College Talk TV, and today I have
Mark Schierbecker.
and he is the guy that recorded the video called Media versus Concerned Students 1950, where basically he was pushed away from doing his duty as a student journalist. And we're going to talk about that, and then we're also going to talk about a recent incident that happened today at a Skepticon conference. So let's begin with basically you just introducing yourself.
I'm Mark Schierbecker. I am a senior at the University of Missouri. I'm a history and German major, and the past week I've been in the news because I shot this video, and now I want nothing to do with it.
Okay, so what do you think about the movement itself, and then also what do you think about the incident that happened on that day?
Sure. The walkout was planned that day. Students, mostly grad students, were planning to dismiss class so that we could force the administration to fire Tim Wolf, who was our former University of Missouri system president. I went to my first class at 10, which was scheduled as normal, and we got to class, and our professor opened it up to us to vote on whether we were going to stay or go, and we all voted to leave. So I had brought my camera that day in anticipation of filming something important, and I took the camera out, and I went out to the quad, the main area where people were congregating, and I just started filming and taking photos.
Yeah. So like with this movement, you were there, and from what I saw in the the 6-minute video, then also a 20-minute video, it seems like they were just basically saying, hey, we don't want people recording, even though it's a public space, and you have a right as a not only as a college student but as a U.S. citizen to film in a public space, especially Missouri, which is a one-party consent state when it comes to the media, where if someone doesn't want to be recorded and they're in a public space at a public event, then it doesn't matter. You're still allowed to record them as that being your right to freedom of press.
Sure. We were asked not to record, and in fact we were physically blocked from accessing the event location, as in the milieu following the announcement that Tim Wolf was resigning. They held a small press conference, and then they released and then shortly after they started telling journalists to go. In Missouri, and really anywhere, if you're outdoors in a public space, you don't generally have an expectation of privacy. That is, you are as a photographer, you are permitted to take photos of anyone
That's in a public space.
Yep.
Yeah. And and I saw the video, and I was thinking to myself that it's very counterproductive, especially for a movement that wants to expand the rights of minorities, to want to make it so, because I would say student journalists are probably the least biased when it comes to journalism, because they haven't been to where, like, I guess you would say maybe corrupted or something like that, and whatever. And a lot of it, you're probably going to get the most unbiased media footage from a person who's a student journalist, other than just someone who's been in the game for like 30 years. And it's like, you guys want to get the word out that, hey, this kind of stuff is happening out there, and and the way you do it is by you having people record you. You use social media, newspaper, whatever, to get the message across. So yeah.
Our School of Journalism is among the best in the nation. Objectively, the department is the one of the biggest, and also the oldest in the nation. We have a long 100+ year history of journalism at this school. You go to the University of Missouri to become the best journalist in the world, and and
Stuff like this happens to you on campus. Yeah, it's very unfortunate.
It's not the first time it's happened either.
And I mean, I've seen that. I go to the University of Akron. I've seen people, whether it be people protesting, and I consider myself a socialist Democrat or whatever, but I'm a huge advocate for freedom of speech. Whether or not I agree with it or not, it's still someone's right to be able to protest, to be able to say what they want to say. And I've seen people, basically run off with people's signs that they disagree with at my campus. I've seen people, throw water or I mean, it's just stuff like that on people's chalking, and it's like the campuses are supposed to be very open-minded areas where you hear a wide array of opinions, and it seems like nowadays everyone wants everyone to think like themselves, and you don't have like different viewpoints being heard or whatever.
Yep. It's very much a 21st century problem we're having, where students are going to university expecting it to be just like high school. They want a dress code. They want people to tell them what to say, what to do, and the university is reinforcing that by ceding to those demands, by, say, enacting speech codes or allowing only certain parts of the campus to be permitted to be speech zones. This was in the news earlier this year. The Senate passed the Campus Free Expression Act in Missouri, which actually allows people to congregate anywhere on an outdoor area of campus, as it should be. So in effect, destroying university codes about where you are allowed to congregate. Often, in University of Missouri is such a case, there's a designated area on campus where free speech is permitted, and everywhere else is off bounds. You need a permit to gather in a limited number of other spaces, but for the most part, free speech is confined to a 30 square foot area on campus. That's high trafficked, but is free speech should never be limited to just those areas. It should be everywhere.
All right, so let's talk about one last point about the actual protest, whatever. What was going through your mind as a student journalist when people were, marching towards you, basically trying to knock your camera out your hand, even putting their hands on you, and who knows what else? What was going through your head at that time? Were you like afraid? Were you, like, I don't know.
I was very much in journalist mode.
Okay.
It's often said that National Geographic, a formerly prestigious magazine for nature photography, was if you were a journalist for them, you would do a story and then oftentimes find yourself in a place where you couldn't get out because you were just so in the zone that you didn't notice you were putting yourself in a dangerous situation. That's what happened to me, and I ended up past the protest line quite by accident, and then approached a professor there and somewhat sarcastically asked, "May I'm media.
Hey, bring some muscle over here. Bring some muscle over here."
I asked her, "I'm media. Can I talk to you?" I identified myself as media, and she said no, and you need to get out, and then she called for force.
Yeah, bring some muscle over here.
Yes.
This is a well, she was like laid off, or I don't know what happened. Was this is a professor telling a student that, hey, because you're recording something that's happening in a public space, I want to tell other students with quote unquote muscle to come over here and like physically remove you. I mean, that's unacceptable.
Mm-hmm. And I was particularly frightened because Mizzou football had participated in this strike by telling administration that they wouldn't practice or play games until Jonathan Butler ate again, and so the administration ceded to their demands, but they were probably at the protest most likely. So I didn't know what was going to happen to me. She asked various students to physically escort me out of the
And
circle.
they actually physically touched you?
Yeah,
To
yeah.
remove you? You see in the is like, you know, that's a professor that's condoning that kind of behavior, for, you know, brought onto a student. And it's like, when I saw the video, and 'cause I met Mark at SSA East last year, or yeah, like
This
last
year.
summer, yeah, or this summer or whatever. And you know, in they're in. Well, actually, let's just get into the Skepticon, because that's gonna, I don't want to jump in that. So basically, what happened today was at Skepticon was there was a Q&A section where you know, he was answering questions from the event, and the person, can you explain who it was?
My formerly good friend Danielle Muscato, former PR for American Atheists, became good friends with me this summer because she was laid off her job, and so we were working together. She brought me to SSACon, where I met you, and she was sort of being
Very.
my help
I
for
would
this
I would
week
I would
to
say
make it more
that
manageable.
I would say that during the speech, one thing that I feel like should have been handled more betterly is that anytime that you have someone who is afraid of you know, public speech, you need to coach them into it. You can't just, you know, drop someone in some deep water and expect them to swim, you know, a lap or something like that. It takes, you know, time to build that up, and you know, it's nerve wracking. I mean, I would say I'm pretty sufficient at public speaking. I do YouTube and stuff like that. But to someone who doesn't do that, and you know, it's a conference hall that's ginormous. You know, there's, you know, probably maybe 100 some people at your particular talk, but it's like, that's nerve wracking, and I think that was, you know, that could have, that shouldn't have happened. You know, you should have prepared this, you know, Mark better, and
And some of it was a great deal of it was my fault. The only thing you could say really is that Danielle prepared too much of my talk, and negotiated with me on points we would cover, but for most of what I said were in her words, and I entirely didn't agree with it. Yeah, and I am openly an autistic person. Before I was in college, I would never have imagined that there would one day be a time when I would go up and speak in front of 100 influential and interested people, people who were interested in what I had to say. So to go in 1 week from occasionally doing a media interview for Sasha, which is the atheist group at Mizzou, to being a representative for free speech at Mizzou at such a great conference, it was unexpected.
and you were happy to have that, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you were excited. It's definitely something.
I wanted this to be. Danielle convinced me that this was where I wanted to go in my life, and this was such a breakthrough to actually speak at such a great conference. But I wasn't ready. Even though I've worked through a ton of my autism symptoms, I'm still unable to speak at such a large conference or event and do a good job of it. But today I felt I gave it 100%, but apparently some people didn't like it.
I mean, and the thing is like he tried. He did it, and no one's perfect. I mean, even LeBron James misses shots, and and another thing is, can you talk about like the audience also? Because I think that was
The audience.
was extremely rude.
Let's see. Well, we went on a little late, so but I was surprised. There were a lot of people who stuck it out.
Wait, let me interject for a second. You see, and this is the thing. Like everyone's like, oh, you're either for this or for that, and there's no like, you can't be for multiple things. I'm for treating everyone equally. Period. And he's like that too. It's just like that's how we are. And you can also be for freedom of speech, freedom of the press, the First Amendment. Those aren't mutually exclusive things or whatever. And the way it seemed at the conference was that's how because he wants to press assault charges on the professor who pretty much manhandled or like put her hands on him, and like they're like, oh, why do you want to press charges? Because it's like, are you trying to attack the movement? And it's like, well, why does she put her hands on him? It's like you can protest. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, from what I understand, I am for what they are for, but I'm not for people basically infringing on other people's rights, especially when it's something that is beneficial for you to have student journalists get your word out there. It's just doesn't make sense. And they even called him a racist. Like it's just like
There were a number of students in attendance, or not students, but members of the public, conference goers who had heard about this talk and made sure to come. We have always been promoting this event in the 48 hours that we had that we knew this event was going to happen. We were trying to find somebody from the movement to represent, to help shed some light on the perspective of those involved in concerned students, and we put the message out there that we really wanted to involve somebody from the movement, and we weren't actually able to put that together in time, even though we tried our hardest, Danielle and I. But and that reflected really poorly on the talk and the conference, especially since a number of those in attendance were there to ask questions about our motives.
Yeah, I mean, like, and the thing is, like, everyone always think that, everyone has a personal bias to some extent, you know what I'm saying? Some more than others, but it's like, they were saying that, oh, well, why do you as a, white male think that it's okay for you to come to something that, is for, like, fighting for equal rights for African Americans? And I can say to my, it's like, it doesn't matter who's recording a video. I mean, he wasn't even talking during the video. I mean, for the most part, and it's like, it's like, I don't even see how that could even be an issue, because it's like whoever's recording it, you can't see them. They're just recording what's going on, and it's like, what fucking difference does that make?
I was just an observer who happened to have a strong opinion about this, and also who happened to make a viral video that 2,500,000 people happened to watch, maybe more.
And it's like, you can't help it that it went viral. It's just, you uploaded it, it's on the internet, and then like people watch it. I mean, it's like, and they wanted him to delete it because it was like the 6-minute video, and I mean, he uploaded the full 20-minute something video. I mean, it's just frustrates me. But yeah. So is there anything that you would want to say to, let's say first, like the Concerned Students 1950? I mean, do you support the message of basically ending racism on campuses, but then also, it's saying that it's not okay to suppress, the First Amendment?
Sure. I totally stand by concerned students to a limited extent. I don't necessarily agree with the way they are approaching this and all of their goals, but for the most part, I agree that black oppression is a problem on college campuses. What you then don't get to do is assault a journalist doing his job, who has a right to be there and is trying to get the story out, while shooting yourself in the foot because these people are going to write about you. And concerned student later realized that they were wrong, and they put out a memo and flyered and told the press basically, welcome back. And I say it's about damn time, and I'm happy for them that the press is finally getting to cover this story like it should be. But I think they also endangered the movement, if not completely destroyed it, because now this story is about this silly video, which is not. It illustrates an important point, but it shouldn't be the main focus of
The movement,
of
exactly.
the movement, because the story was concerned students, and there just happened to be enough media there to cover it, that when when they started behaving badly, it
It shifted
subsumed
the focus
story.
to,
Yep.
this, and it shouldn't be about that. And also, do you have anything? And you don't have to answer this to what just happened today. Do you want any final words to say about
Yeah.
that?
Oh, yeah. So this is what this video is about, and why we're making it. After the conference, it went quite long. It was originally supposed to be 25 minutes. We opened it to questions, and that went total. It was over an hour, and by the end of it, I was not able to form coherent answers, although I was giving it my 110%. And not only has it been a stressful week, but I am an autistic man, and I wasn't even ready for this. I had 48 hours to know this, while having assignments and media obligations to fulfill. So I didn't think it was at all fair when after the conference, after the talk, Danielle spoke to the organizers and then immediately went into damage control, informed me that she would have no further dealings with me, and that I was on my own for help.
Time on, yeah.
Yep.
All right, and the thing is he was very hurt by that. Me and a few other people, we actually went out to eat to just get him out of that situation. And yeah, it's like because the attacks that people were doing, or that were lunging at him, it was just it's a lot of, especially the people who were putting this on or whatever, I don't know, they I mean they know that you have this condition, and they know that this is a really short, basically not that much time to prepare for it. They throw you in it, and then it's difficult for you to answer questions, and then they criticize you because you didn't do it the way they wanted you to do it. And I just, that's where I personally just am a little bit upset about, because I don't know, that's the way I feel.
And likewise,
So
I think the story needs to stop. I wish none of this had ever happened. I'm sorry that people were hurt by this video. I'm still going to tie up the loose ends, and I'm still going forward with the campaign to have Melissa Click removed from office. She assaulted me and several other journalists who were doing their jobs. So but we're not done here. We still have so much left to go. I wish it would all just be over, but there's so much that we need to do.
Yeah, and I thank you for not only standing up for or like trying to get attention to this movement. Then I also thank you for you know putting your I mean, I don't want to say your life, but you put yourself in maybe in physical harm or whatever to like stand up for the First Amendment, and I thank you for that. So thanks for being on my channel. Really appreciate it. This is a good guy, and like he's definitely not a racist person. It's just like, I mean, if he was racist, I mean, I've talked to him at SSA East, and we went out to eat. It's like I don't think he would be racist. I don't think he would want to like talk to me if he was like a really racist person. But because someone doesn't agree with someone, on a certain bullet point of issue, then you're racist, you're sexist, you're whatever, and that's just not how you advance society as a whole. So, thanks for watching.